Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Laurent Fressinet and welcome to the 9th episode of the Chicken Chess Club podcast, where I am once again joined by my dear friends, Grandmaster, future Deputy President, maybe, who knows, Peter Heine Nielsen, and future commentator of the Candidates Tournament, Jan Gustafsson. This is almost guaranteed. I would say it's guaranteed even. How is life, guys?
I'm very tired. I can say that I'm right now in the United States and teaching at a chess camp, which is extremely fun and interesting, but also actual work. I mean, you know, wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. You spend 3 hours, sort of preparing the lecture. You give interviews about the campaign. You answer journalists. Then you go there. You have 6 hours lessons. Actually, for me, I found out that teaching sort of the strongest players is quite easy. And that's, well, we just talk about chess, but I just had 1.5 hours with 20 nice but noisy kids. And yeah, that's a bit tough. It's not, well, I'm used to 2 noisy kids at home, but 20 is, it's not a handful, it's actually 4 handfuls. So that's an interesting challenge.
How do you establish your authority? How do you make them to shut up? Do you yell? Do you throw things? Or do you just ignore
neither.
them?
I think at least 2 of the sort of regular coaches comes in and try to tell them to calm them down when I'm my usual jovial self and don't do much. No, if you have a good trick, I would be very interested to hear. But and else also...
That should be, I mean, the trick is to be strict at the start. I mean, like, if you're not strict at the start, then it's over, basically, yeah?
Yeah, but I got a bit short-changed because it seems like all the experienced coaches know that in the beginning of the day, the kids are fine. But after sort of lunch break, having had a lot of junk food, they completely run out of energy and high and such. So, and of course, Ogor made sure that he got the early lesson like that. So it is complicated, but also very much an experience and a lot of fun, I have to admit. I will make one complaint, though, as Jan is here, that I traveled here by Lufthansa, and we are day 4 or 5 of the camp, and they haven't delivered my bags yet, so that's also a bit annoying. But that was just
so you mean that Jan is responsible for Lufthansa and...
to a certain extent, yeah. I would say. It is a German company, yes.
Yeah, apologies on behalf of Lufthansa. Thank you for your understanding. Your bag will arrive shortly. I have a trick, by the way. If you struggle establishing your authority in front of the audience, what you should do is just imagine that all of them are FIDE employees.
and that you are on Twitter.
That is true. Maybe I will try it tomorrow.
Yes.
I will make an angry tweet if I don't. Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Sounds excellent. So you're in Charlotte with the Charlotte Chess Club. Topalov is there. Ogor is there. It's the creme de la creme
I would say
of
so,
chess
yeah.
coaching.
Well, for me, it's the first time in 15, 20 years I do classes. So, but Topalov seems to be used to it. He does it well. It seems to go easily. And Ogor, of course, for him it's it's his core element in certain sense of teaching. And so for me, actually, it's a bit difficult that I'm used to working with Magnus before that Anand, and well, believe it or not. But they didn't ask me a lot to explain them some of how chess works, so I don't have that much experience in this area.
So this is a new thing you are going to do on a regular basis, or you just take it one by one? It's not like I'm
doing it as regular as I'm asked, so that's been like once in 15 years, right? No, I just they asked me. I was curious to see it. It somehow fitted my calendar. It was before I was sort of expecting this campaign to happen and things like that. So yeah.
So did someone before Baich Polets offered you to be a deputy president?
This training camp was planned for a long time, for sure. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, but does someone...
See, he's such a politician.
No,
He's just giving a different answer. And then
no.
Is it the first time you've been offered to be a deputy president or not?
No, it's the dishwasher is going. I actually didn't hear it. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, is it the first time you've been asked to become a deputy president? Because then you seem to say yes when there is an offer. So
you are actually correct. Yes.
Peter struggles saying no. We can get him to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came to Paris actually to record this video set. So
First come, first
to
serve.
Hamburg as well. Yeah.
Okay, good. What's not to
Anyway,
like?
what about
So how is life, Jan?
Jan? Exactly.
Yeah, I got back from where were we? In Stavanger. Expertly, I had an early morning flight, and in order not to miss it, I didn't sleep all night. So I'm not sure how great an idea that is, but that's my usual technique. Then I got back, and I've also been teaching. Or teaching is a big word, but I'm having some Zoom calls with the German national team. We're preparing for the Olympiad, where we're looking at chess openings, and I think at this point they've figured out that either I'm lying to them or that all these secrets from Magnus Carlsen preparation they were hoping for, that there might not be that many secrets to find. Like it's very interesting and it's enjoyable, but they do have engines, so it's very hard to tell them any particular new secrets. And usually Grunfeld, bishop b5 check, interesting. Queen a4 check, interesting. Yeah, no clue, never looked at it. I'll have to step it up. But no, it's good. It's a good group. We're having fun. It's very laid back, and everyone's a huge theory nerd, just pushing the button, playing the first line of the computer. So we understand
You're
each other.
trying to
Yeah,
tell
but
us.
you're still kicking us in. Yeah, sorry, please.
No,
go on.
I'm saying in the German team is a huge harmony at the moment from a social perspective.
Currently, there's gigantic harmony. There's small talk, banter, no hard feelings whatsoever. It's amazing. It's like the French team, but only because Maxime and Alireza aren't playing.
Why? I mean, you came to our place many times last Olympiad, and you could see that the harmony is there. Whatever happens, actually.
I think the word you're looking for is not harmony, it's wine.
Okay. Yeah, actually, it's a good transition. I should mention that I'm in French league, and this is the first day I have reasons to complain because I had a great position, but I only made a draw. The first few rounds went very well for me. I was making quick draws. I mean, like according to my status of a member of the Chicken Chess Club, but today was not. It was really painful. But
Sorry. Did you draw your games?
I won one game yesterday against the 2200. But the team is doing.
Okay, that's a proper
Yeah,
chicken result. When you beat the 2200,
Yeah.
throw the
But
rest.
the team is
We're
doing
proud of
incredibly well with Nidic. 6.5 out of 7 is just a machine. I mean, he's just incredibly confident, which I cannot. I mean, he's confident at the start of the tournament, and what is funny with him, it's normal, yeah, but he's winning game after game after game, and he just becomes a machine. I mean, and also Donchenko, who is playing. Is he in the German team?
No, that's a topic for later. He has 7 out of 7. He's just winning every game. It's insane. He just beat Jordan today with black. He's beaten Eric Gaisi. He's beaten.
He beat Jordan today.
Who was it? He beat Jordan today. He beat another 2700. The young Russian guy.
So actually, I mean the tournament.
So he's
the
just crushing.
Okay, Donchenko, sorry, is playing for quite a weak team. So I'm playing for Bischwiller, and we are leading with 7 out of 7, mainly thanks to Nidic actually. And we will play the last decisive round against, most likely it will be decisive, against Sanier with MVL, Alexeyenko, Ezipenko, Musar. I mean, very strong team. So they are slight favorite, but I mean, who knows? In one match, anything can happen, I guess.
But your team spirit can make up the
Yeah,
rating.
we have very, very nice dinners, actually. I just come from one of them, and this is.
How are dinners in the French league nowadays? I used to play, not a lot, but for me it was tough because my French is not great, and you have 3 hours lunch before the game, and then you have 5 hours dinner
Actually,
after the game.
there is no social life
French,
before the
rough.
game, but after the game there is a 3 hours dinner waiting for you, with some good food, good salami, good duck tonight, good wine. Everything is there is very good restaurants in Chartres. We are in Chartres where Alireza lives. But
You're in Chartres, where Alireza lives, and Kamsky, no?
Yeah, and Kamsky as well. Yeah, it's maybe one of the strongest cities in France. There is as well some other grandmaster. I think Demut is living here. I mean, like, okay,
It's a good trick question. Which resident of Chartres has played a World Championship match, right?
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
Scatter.
I would also want to tell a French league dinner story from now, right? I remember at some point we were there with Grishuk, and he was sort of telling the waiter, I would like to have a cognac, and sort of, the waiter said a glass, no, a bottle, and we don't really sell it by the bottle. We cannot just buy the whole bottle or something like this. No, there was some negotiations going on, and sort of, that French league is quite something.
Yeah, okay. No, as long as you win, it's all fine, and we have
Congratulations
some
on your
nice
performance.
dinners. The spirit is good. So we'll probably win till the. I mean, we are a huge favorite to win the first 10 matches, and then the last match will be obviously tough because MVL and Alexenko made it. On another note, I don't know if we are planning to. We will talk about it later. Ivanchuk couldn't come, which was really a pity. He was blocked at the frontier. Not only Ivanchuk actually, but another Ukrainian.
Not at the frontier. He didn't leave at all. I have been criticized for misguiding that story with a tweet, but we can talk about that later.
So you are my only source on Twitter. I'm only following you also on Twitter. So.
We can
talk
do
about it now? What's going on in the French league? What
no, it's just about Ivanchuk couldn't play. And I think Volokitin, by mistake, said that they were stopped at the border, but it just meant that they couldn't cross the border. The rules in Ukraine is that males between 18 and 60 is not allowed to leave the country. And there has been exceptions, for instance, for playing the European Championship. Yeah, because then they are representing the country in a sort of official event, while playing the French league is a private event where you go there to play for yourself. And then you should stay home instead. So that's the rule, so that's why they can't play. And of course, then the argument from someone like IOC becomes that should Russian players actually have better possibilities to play than Ukrainian players who have to stay at home? But we can take such later in the What's Wrong with FIDE this week section.
Yeah. No, it's a new topic actually. It's not what's wrong with FIDE this week. What are you going to fix in FIDE this week? What we can do both actually.
Yeah.
So you were both in Stavanger for the Norway chess, which Magnus won. I was expecting him to make somewhat better scores than +3 actually after our last week episode. He had +2 very quickly. And he had some promising pairings.
Yeah, +3 very quickly, even after 6 rounds, but then
he almost lost to MVL in the last round, so it was not. Of course, it's a tournament victory, so it's great, but one could expect better. Peter, you.
No,
I was expecting better. I'm always expecting better from Magnus.
Okay. Yeah, I think that sort of in the 3 wins he had, he played excellently and such, but. And +3 is, it's more or less what you would expect from Magnus. If he does +2, it's not too bad. +3 is quite decent, and more than that would have been excellent. So I think you're being a bit too harsh on him, but of course in the end, there was obvious signs of, let's say, tiredness and bad moves, and he somehow getting himself over the finish line and winning in the event was a bit, I wouldn't say lucky, but things could obviously have gone wrong on numerous occasions and stuff like that. So. No, I agree with you. At some point, it looked like it would be more, but also, I mean, as his coach, if we have discussions that Magnus only won the tournament, it's not going too badly, would be my impression.
It's the old Kramnik quote: "Never question the form of the winner." But yeah, when he had 4.5 out of 6 winning every white game, and the one he didn't win, where he was winning against Wang Hao, looked like he was just cruising. He mentioned that he's had some. Well, health issues may be strong, but that he's been getting sick a lot, and that he felt he was running out of
energy. It felt a bit like he lost a bit of steam
Still.
in the end, no doubt.
Yeah, he almost lost that very crucial game, against Maxi.
And also, I think he scored unusually little in the Armageddons. Maybe he ended up a 3 out of 6, but generally, it's a discipline where he had been completely crushing. I forgot if his score was around 90%. In the last 2 or 3 times, and now it was down to 50, which is quite surprising. That people actually play sort of an equal score with Magnus and Armageddon is pretty surprising to me, at least, I would say.
Yeah, especially he lost
Yeah, he struggled especially with Black, keeping up the timing. Lost to Tari, lost to
Vichy
Wesley,
as well, which
to
was
Wesley,
very
someone else
surprising to me.
to Vichy.
But Vichy just collapsed towards the end, which is a pity. Would you? I mean, of course, this Queen F3, which we saw against Mamedov, which when Mamedov didn't understand, that was. I saw your interview with him, Jan. It was kind of kind of funny that he didn't see it, but he was sure that he would see it. I don't know how sure I would be to see it actually. I hope I would.
We should maybe explain what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Vichy in the 8th round, I think he made a move,
Yeah.
queen to b5, which looked like a normal move at first sight. Then he sat at the board, and you could see within a second of him pressing the clock, he shook his head. Then Mamedyarov came back to the board, and Anand instantly resigned without waiting for a reply. And Mamedyarov was very confused because, yeah, it looks like an normal position, and Mamedyarov said that he had expected queen to b5. But it turns out after that move, Black has a checkmate, or basically a checkmate. Has a trick that after queen takes f3, king takes f3, knight h4 is checkmate. And yeah, I don't think it's that easy to see. Like, I think, yeah, it's very possible. I'm not sure what number we would assign to.
No, it's funny
to
because
missing it
if
and
you give it as a
resigning that.
puzzle, we all see it in 1 second. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
obviously. But over the board,
yeah.
if you're playing Vichy and Vichy just play queen b5, you don't expect anything?
yeah. So, yeah, actually, it was stupid to resign, that's for sure. But okay, in the when you realize you made such mistakes, sometimes you're just doing something even more stupid.
Yeah, you're also
Yeah.
so disgusted with yourself that you wanna just end it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how. And he gave my.
Still, this shouldn't be the memory from
Yeah.
Vichy's tournament, because he played amazing. He played his first tournament in 3 years, his first classical tournament, and he was very much, well, in contention for the win, and frankly looked like the strongest player at a moment when he was completely winning against Magnus. He was really crushing the tournament. He then couldn't wrap it up, but there was an amazing performance after
Very
the
much
break.
so, no doubt about that. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
that
he
very
was a bit
impressive. No, I just.
surprised himself, was my impression. But he said that, well, he did some interview, maybe the one I saw with you, I forgot. But he was also talking about he didn't know it, but of course he had prepared for the events and things like that. And well, Vichy just has huge chess understanding, and if he doesn't blunder anything, why wouldn't he do well? You could argue, right?
No, of course, but still, yeah, I was very impressed with the break. Of course, he's in touch with openings, but you could also see, yeah, that it was just outplaying people.
No, that was just simply amazing. I mean, I just
was
because
very
we
good stuff,
talked about it last week, and we were. He had a really incredible start, and yeah, actually, you have maybe he has this feeling that that it's not the result is not actually the result because of that game against Mamedyarov when he's losing all his chances to win the tournament. So it's a bit some kind of deception, I guess. But yeah, overall, it's had been just great and well, very, very surprising, and it gave Mamedyarov chances to win actually the tournament. He had a very he had a clutch game against Rajabov in the last round, where they apparently it was a normal game, which is not the case. I think this is the first time they are playing a normal game, like not pre-arranged. I mean, like everybody knows about that. And yeah, it was a draw. It was a very sharp game, and yeah, I don't know. It was a very confusing game. Peter, you are laughing. So
No,
yes.
I just want to have a juridical disclaimer before you publicly call them out for illegal match fixing. But go on. Yeah, you can talk again.
Yeah, I can guarantee that. It's
Okay.
I mean, like you have to. I mean, like they are doing match fixing before. I mean, all their games except that one. I mean, the Grand Prix. I mean, some FIDE Grand Prix, it was really ridiculous. In World Cups, they did as well. I mean, they always do that. So. And I think they are not hiding from that.
Yeah, that's why it was, or it was. There were some suspicions because people, yeah, obviously had these thoughts. But the game itself, I was surprised that it looked like a very proper fight, and there's also no reason to stage a draw that wouldn't benefit Mamedyarov. It was just a sharp game. Like Mamedyarov had an attack sacrificed in exchange. Rajabov was down to 5 minutes, But then, gotta give him credit here, he defended amazingly, like in a position that looks like it should collapse. With very little time, he just made a lot of excellent defensive moves.
Sounds strange, but maybe it was almost Radyabov's best performance there.
Yeah,
right?
sporting performance for sure. Like keeping that position with 5 minutes against someone who's really fighting.
Yeah, and
for
especially
tournament
it was
victory
very much in
very
the
impressive.
style of Mamedov with his initiative, like he loves this. I mean, like he thinks he's winning, first of all, even if it's not the case. So he's very enthusiastic, very optimistic, and his calculations are just incredibly sharp.
They both played incredibly well. I was sitting there with the engine, like you could discuss some moves, but there was no serious mistakes, like all the way. So no, it was just
It's a very exciting
proper
last
fight
round.
and
If anything,
finish.
I was a bit surprised that Mamedov took the draw in the end, but of course, he had lost momentum. Things were out of control.
But he looked dispirited that he couldn't break through, and all of a sudden the position is no longer better. He seemed tired.
I
think
can
it happened
understand
in
it
the
in
spur
a
of the
way.
moment.
Of course, we were very happy about it because, Magnus got to win the tournament. So from our perspective, it was very good.
I attended the closing ceremony where Peter was absent because he's a very busy politician and chess trainer. He left early in the morning to go to the States. I'm not sure.
The game finished around 10 o'clock in the evening, and I left 6 o'clock in the morning next day too. Well, I left 4 o'clock in the morning from the hotel, actually. So it's tough being a chess coach
Jet
and a
set life.
politician, right?
It must be very rough. But yeah, was a nice dinner, but not all that much to report in the
Really?
gossip
Okay.
department.
No, I have no clue, but yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
As I said, I was
have no
I was
follow-up.
only
Just want to
hanging out
shame
with you
Peter
there,
for
so I
not
don't
showing
know
up.
much. But
That is true. Like I felt very, very awkward being around people again, as usual. So we stuck to the people we've known for 20 years. Well, Peter, of course, thinks I'm this social butterfly because I like say hi. But it felt strange to me, like with people I don't know that well.
So with whom?
We're no longer young looking
So
for
tell us, Jan,
connections. no?
when Peter left, so you could spend the whole evening with your buddies Anish and Erwin without Peter complaining.
No, Erwin, yeah, I once met, I think, before rest day for 2 beers. I'm sure I complained about this, the 28 euros that we paid for the 2 beers and so on. But yeah, no, Erwin I've been friendly with. for a
I'm
long
actually
time. We used to play.
I'm also
in the late 90s.
very friendly with Erwin. We shared a car at some point for 10 minutes. I think the first minute I was not sure, should we not talk or whatever, but then we just started talking, and well, what was the big deal? I think that I have a sort of fight with Anish. It's not going to affect that, is my impression.
The magic of talking. I just wanted to mention for the record that, of course, I'm also very friendly with Anish. I just didn't have drinks with him because I guess he was not into drinking. He was asleep at that time. But yeah, at the closing, they had a fixed seat order, so I couldn't hang out with my Dutch buddies.
Such a pity. Did you resign, by the way, from the Dutch? You used to be a Dutch team captain in the last Olympiad, actually. So you just last year you couldn't make it because of the match, but then how did that work? And then you got this job over from Germany, or how did that? I mean, did you resign or did they fire you? Or I'm a bit curious there.
This was covered on a previous episode of the Chicken Chess Club, but we can do it again. No, my job on the Dutch team got taken by Smeets because of my loyalty to you guys, because we went early to Phuket to prepare for the match, and I didn't want to go to the European Team Championship because it was end 2 days before. And yeah, then I got the offer from Germany, or I got in touch. They got in touch, and of course I checked with my Dutch boys what the plans for the Olympia were, but they were very happy with Smeets, who's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Can't really hate Smeets for it. And yeah, I think it worked out well.
Oh,
for
it's always
everybody.
tricky when you skip a turn. I remember that for the 2013 World Championship match, right? I couldn't work with Magnus because, I had promised Vichy to stay neutral, right? But of course, you're afraid that he's going to stick with Fresh and the gang, or you'll just be out, right? So it's tricky skipping turns like that.
But that's why it's good if your co-workers or the people that report to you, if they're not that good,
yeah, exactly.
if they don't have leadership qualities,
I was about to
then
make
you
the
can
point,
leave,
yeah?
sit on one
thank
event.
You, thank you, Peter. You took Hammer and myself, and that was all fine. You got past your job immediately, yeah? Okay, so what's going on in the chess world as well? Something more on Stavanger, or I think we covered it all. Beautiful event, of course, that we want to see every year, basically. I mean, it's a nice event, and this Armageddon, I think it's quite a decent idea, actually. I like it. Why not? It doesn't.
I think it's fine. Like for the show, it makes it a bit more interesting if we have these Armageddons in between. Like we're chess nerds, so we mainly care about the classical and who wins and loses rating. But
I will make a
very
complaint
good
that has absolutely no relevance except for me. That as a second is annoying. You have to basically be standby. The playing hall is quite far from the hotel, so you go to the hotel, you rest a little bit, but you have to be ready to go all the time if the game is a draw, to sort of go there and chat a bit and help with the openings and such. So I think it's an excellent rule. It's just slightly annoying for seconds, but I don't think the main problem of the chess world is to not annoy seconds. So
Tell us about your day routine in Stavanger, please.
No,
As
sorry.
you did during the match. Please.
No.
So what?
you will not be able to keep up.
I'm gonna refuse to comment on that. I think in politics there should be transparency, but it's completely different. Let's say in sports or even in private companies, it's very different.
Now he's making it sound like there are all these secrets he could mention. We just want to know how you spend your time.
I might even be contractually obliged not to say it.
Wow, nothing.
No, don't worry. We'll come to it. We'll come to politics. I think it will be a major part of the show because you just became Peter officially a candidate.
No, that was a previous episode as well.
No. That was your Super Bowl day, the next day of the previous episode.
Right,
you didn't know you had like three countries rooting for you. I mean, come on.
During the candidates episode, we knew.
Actually,
but
right. I stand corrected.
Wow, that's amazing, actually. So our producer wrote about Prague, which is a nice tournament, but I don't see any kids actually winning rating, so that's a bit weird.
No, they're in the challengers. I didn't really follow the masters, but all the kids are in the challengers. Keymer, Abdusattorov, Hans Neimann. I've only followed the challengers.
The masters, but that's boring actually.
I will.
The good stuff is.
Yeah, the challengers.
I will just embarrass myself and say that who won.
Yeah, these young kids are just so good. Yeah, Abdusattorov, Keymer. Now I see in French league here, Eric Gazy is not doing too well. Surprisingly, Ezipenko is losing like 25 points here, or 20. I mean, there's 2,300. I mean, it's just a disaster.
But he's playing too much. My boy Ezipenko is playing non-stop.
It's just
take a break.
Disaster for him. This is amazing. He looks completely dead. I mean, like he looks tired, yeah, actually. And well, when the guy plays something, he will think for half an hour, looks disgusted, and then plays some very poor move. I think he won his first game yesterday, so that's really a disaster for him. I don't know why. I mean, he's losing only 15 points, okay, and he drew Eric Gazy today, but.
Apart from that,
yeah,
isn't he Eric Gazy or who are we?
No, it's Ezipenko.
Ezipenko. I want Eric Gazy to take a break.
Eric Gazy is on
still Eric Gazy
plus
take
2
a break.
and he's losing 3 points. There's also your boy Nielsen Sarin.
Okay, that's not too bad.
He's on plus 3 and winning 6 rating points. So
excellent.
pretty solid for them. But it's hard to. I think we said in the last in one of the last episodes. I think that Eric Gazy. I think Jan and myself just agreed that Eric Gazy could be the most promising of them.
I don't think I said that. Also, my Indian kids power rankings, I'm willing to change all the time.
Yeah.
Gukesh is what, 2685 now? He's a year younger. It's not bad
Pragananda won
either.
the almost.
Pragnananda is just
Yeah.
crushing this Champions Chess Tour. I think the race is still
It's
very open.
It's hard to say. Yeah, from one day to another, it just changes.
So in this Challengers, that's the one I've been following. Keymer's doing well, won some rating. So is Abdusattorov and Neimann. And the local Czech guys are having a rough time with these kids, like Stošek, Radček, Michalik, Shishanovsky. Not like they're losing every game, but overall, kids are
They
top
are
of
very
the
good.
table. In the Masters, I
Yeah,
haven't
they are
followed
very
much,
good
yeah.
players, but yeah, it's too tough. These kids are just too tricky. And the Masters, Le Quang Liem. That's why I was wondering why our producer was saying that. But because Le Quang Liem is leading with
I
+3
wrote
and Hare Krishna is +2, so I mean, not much new under the sun, I would say. It's very logical. I mean, like it's nothing shocking there. So.
Fair enough.
Yeah, French League we already discussed. There is not much new except this 7 out of 7 from Donchenko. I mean, like he looks so confident. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, we have 7 out of 7 Donchenko and 6.5 out of 7 Najdic. I mean, it's just amazing how they play. And Tomo, no, it's after Tomo. Actually, there is a team,
Can we just make a short break?
between-
You're mentioning 2 German players who's doing incredibly well, and Gustafsson had picked neither for the national team.
Najdic is not German. I mean, he's German, but he's playing for. I mean, he's supposed to play. He's not playing for sure. He's playing for under the flag of Azerbaijan, as far as I know. He moves there since 2016 or something. Jan, can you confirm?
I do not know which flag he's
I think it's-
playing under currently. I honestly don't know. Like, he played for Azerbaijan in the past. I know there were talks of him returning to play for the German Federation, where I think the German Federation, with their rich history, wasn't too keen on it. But I honestly don't know the status. I don't know if he's playing for any team at the Olympiad. As for Donchenko, yeah, that's a great pity, of course. Like, Donchenko, he was German #1, had like 2.675 about a year ago. And then just everything started, or I don't know, the timeline is probably wrong. Maybe it was 2 years ago, but everything started falling apart for him, and he went down from 2.675 to 2.599. So yeah, he had this huge crisis, and rating-wise was 35, 36 points behind the others. So I couldn't put him on the team, but it's great to see him doing amazingly. And now he's winning in this one tournament, like what,
Yeah.
33 rating points in 7 games, which is pretty much unheard
Yeah,
of.
no,
if
I
you're
mean, just,
a 2600 player.
yeah,
It's completely
it's just-
insane. So he's right back, and
Yeah.
I would predict he'll be on the team in the future. It's
I
it's a
just
pity
want
how
to-
this
So I
played out,
just
how
checked-
the timing was, but
Sorry, please go ahead.
No, I want to say one thing general, but please don't misunderstand it for critique of Jan. But I've always, yeah, you will. In
I will,
let's say
I will.
other sports like football, you would have like a certain amount of players, and only in the absolute last minute you might kick out the last ones to have more flexibility. That is never the case in chess. Somehow, the Olympiad, we seem to think that we should take the team like 2 months before. Is it because people has to plan, or not professionals to the extent that the professional football players are? Or is it more juridical that FIDE actually wants to have the names in advance?
So you're arguing both ways. You're saying there should be a stable team or built over many years, and you're saying the lineup should be picked one day before
I'm
the
just
Olympiad,
asking that,
so
for
you can
instance,
react to a last minute change.
in football, you might see that some players are only deselected 1 week before the absolute last training camps. And I'm wondering if it's not legal to do it in chess, or then in chess we just, players are not so professional that they're willing to say that we will really like to play the Olympiad, and if you tell us 1 week before, it's enough in a way. Just that.
I mean, it's much more about. First of all, I mean, for me, in my case, tickets were booked. I mean, for instance, I mean, like it's small difficulties which.
Tickets Visa, you need a month to get
Yeah.
the visa, like even if you do all the technical stuff. And also, would you really want, like if you're a candidate to be on a team to
Yeah.
get the news you're going to India next week? Like, I mean, that's just not realistic. And I should also say that I am very happy with the German team as they are. Like, it's not like someone has a great tournament, you say, okay, you're out. Like Donchenko is great, and he'll be back surely at the rating he used to have, and a much higher rating. But it's not like you can say, okay, sorry, that other guy is having a great tournament.
No,
We're out
I
the
agree
team.
with you. It's more an observation that in chess we're doing like this, while for instance in handball, also I will see, players, 4 days before being told, sorry, you're just not in the team anymore. That's how it is. That is considered a premise in many sports, while in chess we find it's unthinkable. I'm just trying to make a general point. I'm actually not this time going especially at Jan.
Fair enough. I would argue that maybe in physical sports, injury is also somewhat bigger topic than in chess, so you must have the flexibility to switch.
I generally actually agree with you. I'm just trying to, keep conversation going somehow.
Yeah, so just to finish with the French League topic, Naidic is playing under the Azeri flag. I just checked, and he's doing some boxing. He's in incredibly good shape, actually. I mean, physical shape. Instead of having dinner with us, he's the only one not coming. He's running. He's running like in the evening. He looks incredibly motivated and incredibly focused. No distraction for Arkady, and we are just counting on him to score points. So amazing. Just he said he started his boxing, and he actually, I mean, one can believe him because he's incredibly fit. So yeah.
Strange thing to make up.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So Peter, so you are now an official candidate to become FIDE deputy president, with Bajs Polec would be a president. There is 4 teams who got nominated by the countries, the delegates. So please tell us more about your candidacy, others. What are you going to do?
Just speak about FIDE for half an hour.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, up to this sort of Super Bowl day, there was basically supposed to be 4 teams who has announced they were running. But, Dvorkovic and Sharipov were both sort of, they have sort of said long ago that they already had the endorsement, while for Bajs Polec tickets and for Fume ticket, it seemed to be a race against the clock. Fume was struggling to find someone in Europe to endorse him, while for the Bajs Polec Nielsen ticket, at first it looked like Africa was not so easy for us, but that we actually managed, thanks to South Sudan. We really appreciate it. And then it looked like Americas was going to be very difficult for us. And it was this, I think it was Wednesday, or was it Tuesday, that was the deadline. And I had to do preparation at the same time when the deadline was running out. And I think like 3 hours before the deadline, Magnus made a tweet where he said, okay, someone in Americas, can you please endorse the Bajs Polec Nielsen ticket, because then Peter can keep preparing for the game. And the Netherlands until stepped up, gave us their endorsement, and we are in the race. So that was Dvorkovic.
But you know whom you have to thank, as usual.
I think it's. I don't think there is a direct connection there, but who knows?
There's no direct connection.
Come on.
Your old friend Jan is at lunch, stops by at Magnus and the Hendricks table to do some small talk, and say, "Oh, Peter, I think his ticket. They have four nominations now, but they're struggling with the Americas." Then there's a brief debate about if it would be fun to have season 3, the rise and fall of Peter Heine Nielsen, the politician. Then there's a tweet. No direct connection?
I don't know. We can ask. I would still think that they are just impressed with our political program, and I think they rightly should be.
But Peter, and you forgot to thank Antti of Netherlands. I mean, like.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and the Netherlands themselves.
Yeah, so the Netherlands Antilles. Well, we're very grateful, and we really appreciate it. I think also I would say that towards the Fume ticket, it's a pity that they actually had 5 or 6 countries endorsing them, and I think they should have been allowed to run. I mean, one thing is if you support a ticket, another thing if the ticket should be allowed to run. So that's quite a pity. So I was very happy about it.
Are you allowed to trade countries? Like, can you give the Netherlands to Fume and you get an African country in return? Like, it doesn't have to be official, just some backroom dealings.
Of course, such thoughts was mentioned, but it was clear that for the Bajs Polec Nielsen tickets, we don't do such things. So either we do it
So-
by the rules or we don't do it at all. That's
So one quick question before we move on. Do you think the nomination, is it fair that it's like it's transparent, that it shouldn't be anonymous? Like, because okay, let's say the Netherlands give you the nominations, and if Dvorkovich wins, you understand that they might be scared that they will get less than other countries who supported Dvorkovich, for instance. So should it be, in your opinion, should it be anonymous or it should be fully transparent?
I think it should be fully transparent because I think it's reasonable that not just anybody can run for president. I mean, it cannot be like Laurent just says, okay, I want to run for president.
What?
He should be able to, but
Why not?
there has to be 5 countries who stands up and say, sure. It's actually the same in the normal political elections. You cannot just say, I insist on being elected for French Senate. There has to be people endorsing you, or you have to have done it before. This is
Yeah, okay, but that was my question.
But I think,
yeah.
no, this, I mean, well, at least we have to pretend that we are a normal, transparent democracy. And of course, somebody has to stand forward. But I get your point that, of course, some has mentioned to us that, well, we like you and such, but it's maybe not that pleasant for us to endorse you because in case there is a different leadership, it could have some kind of unfortunate consequences for us. So
Yes, that's the problem. I
Who's
mean,
that? Just for
no, that
transparency's
is
sake?
not transparency to tell you that. I'm sorry. That is just idiots. Yeah.
And so there is Fume couldn't make it, and there is a dark horse, which nobody knew that he would run. Which I mean, the guy I know
Or
quite
maybe,
well actually.
well, he's from France, so maybe you knew, but just kept quiet to watch your good friend Peter Heine. Or how was it?
No, I didn't know at all.
No.
So
I think it was rumored
yes,
that one
he's
or
a
2
guy who
days
is-
to go, but yes, that there was like a 5th ticket, and it was a bit unclear who is it going to be, but it turned out to be Bashar Kouatly who was running, and that was a bit surprising to me because I think 1 or 2 months ago he was making public statements on how great Dvorkovich was doing and such. So I don't know if there was some kind of backstage fight, if maybe Bashar expected that he would be Dvorkovich's vice. It also, based on what you can see on Dvorkovich's Facebook, there seems to have been some rumors that it's a backup ticket in case Dvorkovich, for instance, should
But-
get sanctioned, and that. But Dvorkovich, of course, is denying that. So, well, there's a lot of things that I don't know. Well, surprisingly, yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Kouatly is still FIDE deputy president.
Exactly. If
Now.
Dvorkovich would step down, for instance, Kouatly would be the president for sure. Yes. So
Yeah.
he's actually.
So
the
let's
depu-
remind to
Mhm.
yeah. Sorry,
The
continue. please.
deputy is running against the sitting president, indeed. Yes.
Which is, I mean, like weird. So what Dvorkovich is saying on his Facebook that
Well, he was saying a couple of days before that, before the sort of deadline, that there is rumors or there is people who is trying to use his good name and saying that we are the backup ticket in case Dvorkovich, for instance, would be incapable to continue and such. And well,
But haven't you guys denied since that you're the backup ticket?
that was
Sorry,
a good
I'm
one.
just
That
trying
was-
to hijack the politics
that-
talk with dumb
That
jokes.
was a
Because
good one.
Laurent is incredibly interested all of a sudden now that Kouatly
Yeah,
joined.
no,
Laurent
no,
is
so-
incredibly interested
So
in
let's
FIDE politics.
remind because I'm into like I was actually on the list which was running against Kouatly as president of the French Chess Federation, so I was not very high on the
You're
tip.
also a politician.
But I was
no idea.
I was on the list, yeah. So and he lost the local election, so it's a bit weird. With I have to remind he made 36%. He was a president, so I mean 36% is not great when there's 3 candidates and when you just made 5 years in the office. But whatever. So the guy is losing local elections, so it's like you lose to 1800, but next time you go to against 2600. Yeah, that's a bit funny to me, but I mean the guy has no shame apparently in doing that. But I don't think he will go to.
So you're not a fan. I take it you're not a fan.
No, I'm not a
of
fan. No,
Kouatly.
that's for sure. Yeah, he was very bad president simply. That's why I didn't want to be involved. At all in this French Chess Federation politics. But yeah, at some point you have to. If there's a normal guy doing a
If
normal
good
job.
people don't step up, the bad people win.
Yeah, exactly. No, but if the job is really too bad, you have to say something at some point.
I think at some point,
I think it's exactly maybe it's what Peter. I mean, if you would think that the current administration would be more or less acceptable but not great, you would probably not run.
Well, that's very possible. Yes, I'm running for. To fight this Russian influence. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I want to say about Kouatly that at some point I made some strong tweets about him, but for full sake of transparency, Laurent told me to do it.
No, I didn't.
Wow.
Like I'm controlling your Twitter. Oh, please, your Twitter.
No, but at some point there was actually a case going with sort of from the
he has problems.
French Parliament, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, he appeared on the main newspaper in France, and there is some court case going on about his activity of his enterprise when he was president of Chess Federation. So, that's all very shady, I would say. But actually, he was on the cover of two main French newspapers. So at least they talked about chess, but not in a very nice way, not the way we like.
But actually, now he's on a opposing ticket of the one I'm running for, and I think according to the electoral rules, we're not allowed to sort of attack the integrity of other tickets and such. So I better stay away from that and just leave it to Laurent.
Mm-hmm. Do you? So you don't need to actually, it's not like with your tweet, you don't need to ask me to do that.
No. It seems like it comes by itself. But this was it was a bit surprising, and but it was actually really up to a deadline, and we definitely only had the last signature from the Netherlands until actually very late. So this was it was thrilling, and it was like
I had a talk with Anish right after it. That's shocking how little control we have over our federations, because Germany endorsed you as well.
Germany, they didn't officially endorse us, but 2 days after that,
I saw on the Schachburg website.
Then they
later
went out and they recommended Boris Puller's Nielsen ticket, and they said that it's important to, you will sort of say contain or suppress is probably the right word, Russian influence in the chess world. So we had quite these countries sort of endorsing us, and then Germany joined shortly afterwards to show support. So that it's very much appreciated. I think that if I have to advertise, it's I can mention no, I shouldn't advertise here on the podcast. That would not be fair.
So, but
never. We would never use this podcast for your political agenda. Having said that, you're currently very concerned that the current FIDE government, they seem to be campaigning for re-election. Why is that wrong? Isn't that what people do?
No, I mean the rules are pretty clear that during the electoral period, which is the 3 months leading up to the elections, people who is in political office like Dvorkovich and Kouatly, they cannot use any kind of FIDE funds to campaign. And secondly, the one I'm most upset or outraged about is that FIDE officials can in no way be used in the campaign. They cannot use, they're not allowed to travel with candidates to campaign. They're not allowed to use even their phones or any kind of...
Hang on, they're not allowed to travel with
they're
candidates?
They're not allowed to travel with candidates for campaign reasons. So the argument...
Sure, but if they are... it always will be a gray area, no? They can travel to any country to discuss the implementation of the FIDE Chess in the Schools program there.
I understand, but let's say, for instance, a bit more than 4 years ago, before the previous elections, Bologan was traveling in South America. He was openly campaigning there for Dvorkovich. He was telling them that, Dvorkovich is going to bring in 3 million euros, and there's like 150 countries on the under the development fund. There will be 20,000 for each. And such, and that he was openly saying that point. You can see that in articles and such. When you then send the exact same person together with Dvorkovich just before an elections, it's very difficult not to see it as a campaign. Also, you can see they travel a lot of countries and visit delegates. If that's not campaigning, what is actually campaigning would be my next question.
I'm actually sorry to say, but I'm with Peter on that 100%. This is just a shame. It was exactly Kouatly actually did the same in France with general director. I was complaining about that. She was an employee, And she shouldn't make. I mean, like she was even voting. I mean, like the day of the election, she was even a delegate. So I mean, like an employee was a delegate to vote. I mean, this is just completely wrong, and shouldn't happen. You have 3 months where you should stay quiet. I mean, Sutovsky shouldn't post on Facebook. This is just 100% wrong again.
Maybe the worst thing is, I think it's Bologan right now in South America, but also Dana Reichnitzer, who is sort of employed by FIDE, went with Dvorkovich together to Montenegro. They met the prime minister, but they also met the chess federation, I think, at the same meeting. And some days after, Montenegro is announced as they are endorsing Dvorkovich for as the European country, right? I mean, well, the point is, if they make rules and they have made them themselves, that you're not allowed to campaign during this period. Well, I would like to hear, if that is not campaigning, which kind of campaigning is it that's illegal? I mean, there's nothing left, simply. It makes no sense.
Of course.
So what do you expect Dvorkovich to do? You would expect him to campaign, but not bring the FIDE
I would
general
say that
director.
A, he shouldn't travel with any of FIDE officials. B, he should pay for his tickets and everything himself. That's the rules he's made. It's extremely simple. I mean, he just should have the same conditions as we do. If he has to go some kind of very official meeting, that's nothing to do with campaign. FIDE can pay for it. But that he's traveling all over the world, meeting delegates, that of course he cannot do the last 3 minutes. That's the whole point of the rules.
Yeah, of course, if he's at the opening ceremony of the candidates, then great.
Good.
I mean, like
do that.
FIDE can pay and so on, closing ceremony as well. But if he's visiting one country for the 3 months, of course he should pay, because it's each country you are visiting. I mean, it's obvious that you are talking about upcoming elections.
I will make a counter argument. You could argue that Dvorkovich has completely stopped campaigning because he's doing only trips with FIDE officials, which of course by definition then is not campaigning. He's not traveling together with Vichy. He's not traveling together with Göran Jansson or Sushen or Mamadov. So you can argue Dvorkovich is not campaigning at all, but of course he is. It makes no sense logically. I think it's misuse of.
But that means you think they have to campaign because your ticket poses a serious enough threat that re-election is not safe.
I don't know. I think it's normal that if you run to office, you try to explain to the world why you are doing it. Else, it becomes there should some belief in that we are a vibrant democracy that sort of actually takes elections serious, and we try to discuss what's the plan and such. That would be normal. I mean,
So Peter, tell us, what are your chances? What do you think now?
Well,
It's really just switching the topic, no? Such
yeah. Me? Or?
Peter, if you need someone to travel Southeast Asia to meet FIDE delegates, Laurent and I, we can make it happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
We won't campaign for you, but we will
you're
travel.
allowed to campaign for me. That's completely fine. You can tell you.
Yeah, but
I know we're allowed. Just say we won't.
We will try, but we will probably not manage. That's the problem.
We'll try. We'll try our best.
Fair enough.
Where do we send the invoice?
No, you don't send the invoice. You just do it. We are sort of more. We're running on arguments more than on huge funds at the moment. In a way, I would say. Not in a way, exactly.
So what do you think? What is how afraid is he? What do you think of your chances?
I don't know. I think it's like before. I mean, to sort of define what is the chances, I think it's more for commentators. It's like before the match with Magnus. Would we sit down and think, okay, do we have 85% chances? It's only 80. We know we have a chance.
But that's the ballpark, yeah? If you have 85.
Yeah, so I just mentioned some random figures. I think we are trying to.
Sure.
Think it's incredibly important to do something about the Russian influence in chess, and it's something that's worth fighting for. And the chance is more than zero, so we're gonna do our best. And I think, you can see that the
chance is more than zero.
Countries like Germany and Netherlands stand. No, I think I'm quoting Kramnik before the.
But as your official campaign podcast, we still need more talking points. The talking points keep being too much Russian influence, transparency, and we'll do our best. So we need more.
Maybe.
Boris Politz, no, where's the big mission statement?
Jan, we should remind every time, and maybe on every podcast, that we I mean, it was not it was not the purpose of the podcast. We got tricked into that. We are just Peter's
that's why I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I mean, like.
I didn't know at the time, but I just thought having the podcast would be a good sort of easy platform for me should I go in many directions, right? So it's okay, that actually hurt. Sorry, I take it back. No, I mean, well, I think that I forgot what your
so
question
dirty
is.
right
Can you repeat it?
I was asking for a more detailed plan by the Boris Prolis Nielsen ticket, how they want to develop chess all over the world other than transparency and no Russian money.
I think that we think that it's not just having no Russian money, but having a FIDE president that is not linked to the Kremlin.
Other than transparency and no Russian
but
influence.
This is very important. You should try and imagine the worldviews change on chess and FIDE in case there is no links to the Kremlin anymore. It suddenly becomes a completely different ballgame where you can start looking.
But you're just running a negative campaign. You should have some positive arguments, things you can give the chess.
But on the other hand, maybe
extremely positive that a lot of doors will open. Right now, look at the companies that's been able to attract.
Yeah.
It's not what you would like to find.
True.
You have a much better chance if imagine a sort of a big global company looking. Should we sponsor FIDE? Should we sponsor a big chess event? I mean, they're gonna, Google it a bit. They will see that, okay, oligarchs are coming, that we have had a lot of Russian state companies sponsoring. Of course, it's going to be a completely different situation if this is not the association there is anymore. Imagine also the big story it will be if chess actually breaks free from that. I see a lot of potential there.
I hope you're right, and I understand this has to be a message, but chess history has also shown us that usually giant corporations aren't that thrilled to pour money into chess long term. Chess has always depended on private individuals that are in charge of a lot of money.
And I would say that the Soviet-Russian sphere of influence has been like 40 to 45 years if you calculate Campomanes in between and such. Kasparov-Karpov matches, I think some of them actually had impressive prize funds, especially if you take into account inflation and such. So
your argument is Western sponsors weren't wanted or needed.
I also think that for Dvorkovich, with the situation before
No, I mean over the last 40 till 45 years.
To that extent. I mean, I think that, not heavily, no. I mean, why would they in a way? They will also start losing control in a way. If you are the one providing all the Russian sponsors, you keep control of the things. That's very logical, in my opinion. So I think, no, that this would create a completely different dynamic, no doubt about it. But of course...
yeah, and why not to mention that, they have many Russian sponsors. Now with the situation, it's not clear, even from a pragmatic point of view, it's not clear how Dvorkovich, if Dvorkovich will manage to find any, and it's actually very, you can doubt.
I was reading up a bit on, for instance, Bologan's statement when he was traveling South America in 2018, and he was arguing that, Dvorkovich knows a lot of government leaders, he knows a lot of company CEOs, but they are all in the Russian direction and such. You don't see sort of government leaders of a very, let's say, Western orientation or of companies and CEOs who would sort of link up with Dvorkovich. I don't think so.
Okay, but my question was, is there anything else than transparency and less Russian influence, and that's still all we're talking about?
Of course, also we have spoken with the countries that are endorsing us, and we are trying to, more understand which kind of needs they have and how we can help the regions and such. Because, when we spoke to some of the countries in Africa, of course it becomes clear to me that they have a very different sort of, situation from us who lives in sort of this part of the chess world that cares a lot about World Cups and such. For instance, that they were unhappy that no big events is hosted there and such. So of course, there is a lot of interesting challenges in that way. And of course, we'll have to deal with it. But I think also you're asking too much, that we should have a fully fledged program that covers all these things while we don't have access to, a lot.
No, I'm not asking for that, but yeah.
Employees and such. So, I understand what you're saying.
I'm asking, if you're in charge of the chess world, what do you want to do? Then the goal has been fulfilled. No Russian influence, and you can be very transparent.
We will start to look for sponsorship that is not politically linked, but more commercially based and such. And we see a lot of promise there. I think it's going to be a boost. I think it's going to be a great story that the chess world actually decides, no, we don't want to be linked up with Russia anymore. I think you.
How do you look for it? Does Boris Prolis have a network there?
I'm not going to mention you any names, but yes, we actually have contact with people that would I think. Well, you will see. I think we're gonna mention things at some point, but there don't have to be transparency in every stage.
So Jan is interesting about the program, but I want some more transparency about the campaigning. How will it work? Are you calling like all day long the delegates? Are you planning to travel somewhere? Are you planning to come to Chennai? Are you planning to open a website with your proposal? What are you planning to do? Because we know, I mean, the program is really nice ideas, nice questions, Jan, but it's all about, talking to people and, getting the vote. Because
that's sort of the point we're making, no? Like, chess world is all networking.
Yeah, and it's obvious we cannot beat them on networking. They have had 4 years where they have specifically sort of targeted, delegates and such, when we have to do it differently. It's obvious if we play their game, we're gonna lose. Also, it's obvious that if they actually have FIDE employee resources, there's no way we can compete with that. We're gonna do it differently, no doubt. And of course, we're gonna have a website, and I cannot tell you the exact date, but we are working on stuff like this. But of course, the number of resources is completely different. I'm at a chess camp in the US right now. I've just been with Magnus in Stavanger. I'm doing a podcast with you guys and such, right? Of course, it's asymmetric. We have to.
It's our fault.
No, but how many hours it takes you per day?
I don't know. It's like asking you how many hours.
This is literally your best marketing resource. Don't blame us for holding back your campaign. We're talking about your campaign for the last half hour.
You are asking how many hours do you spend a day? It's the same like how many hours a day do you spend when you charge Magnus for a full day? Are we talking about you sitting in front of the computer analyzing, or are we talking about you? Yeah, too. Fair enough. Are we talking about you sort of sitting at a bar but actually thinking about the Berlin? It's complicated, right? These tweets I make, they take some, subconscious thinking to materialize and such. So it's...
These 20 tweets a day you make.
Yeah. No,
it's take like a lot of subconscious and conscious thinking.
No, they have this. They have these short breaks at this camp for like 15 minutes, and where you have to sort of change your group, but you also have to answer 3 FIDE employees. It's very stressful. But I'm doing my best.
Oof. Hang in there. We appreciate your hard work.
Okay, so something to add on FIDE topic?
I can talk forever, but
I got nothing.
I have the feeling if I say something, I will bullet for 15 minutes. So it's okay for this time. We'll have more time. Don't worry.
Yeah.
No. Also, Peter, I don't hate you in your campaign. I'm just trying, because this is not an official campaign podcast. So ask some critical questions to make things interesting.
That's awesome. But I appreciate having critical questions, but I lack that others get critical questions. For instance, recently you had numerous interview sessions with a deputy candidate of Arkady Dvorgovich, but my recollection was that you asked him 0 critical questions.
No.
Right?
No.
Wow.
Vishy.
I was doing commentary at Norway Chess. Vishy shows up once or twice, and he wanted me to ask after the game, to ask him campaign questions. That's an insane request. You would never, ever do that if you were in my position. Like, now you're just being completely unreasonable. And you know that.
I disagree a bit. It's actually
No, you don't.
So now people, you have to. I'm cutting you both. Now you understand why I'm in this podcast. I'm the middle guy who just say at the end of the podcast, let's get a beer. And,
no. I have to answer.
Okay, Peter.
I actually think that. Vichy is a deputy president candidate, and it's during an election time officially. He should be able to get some questions. I agree that 1 minute after the game, he shouldn't get a tough question necessarily, but he should also be reasonable that...
Vichy, if you're listening, you're always welcome on this podcast, and we'll ask you very tough questions about your campaign, transparency, the funding, like anytime.
Yes. Please, come, debate, talk.
Yeah, I'm not...
We can also have Peter and Vichy both. We can debate.
Oh, that would
we'll
be
host.
Amazing.
Exactly.
Amazing. I do think Vichy will... Vichy is not campaigning at all.
Depends. No. He's tweeting a bit like me.
His name is enough, basically.
Yeah, of course. I understand. You're trying to say that they have a reputable deputy and he doesn't have to talk. That's what you're saying. No, but I
I
mean,
mean, it's what is going to happen actually. But
yeah, I get the point. I just say it's a pity that I mean,
Yeah,
well, that
okay.
Vichy, Göran, Sushen,
No,
and
no.
Mamadov is not making any kind of arguments. I mean, it shouldn't be Dana, Sutovsky, and Bologan who is campaigning, but we're going round in circles.
Of course. Yeah, that's for sure.
And I
They
upset
aren't?
Jan, so well, we'll see.
I don't know.
So, do you have some?
Okay.
So we didn't have any questions. Maybe for the next week we should get some questions. Please ask your question to the future deputy president, FIDE deputy president, Peter, who will get his nice colleagues. I'm still, appeal committee. I'm a candidate to be a member of any appeal committee anywhere in the world. So please, Peter, don't forget about your old friend.
No, it's really not what
Fress.
it's about
Okay.
for us. I'm sorry, but okay. No, you're thinking.
Transparency.
Yeah,
That will
yeah.
be transparent.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
No, it's not.
Laurent, to lighten the mood, tales from the training camps. Shall we talk about that one night in Thailand that we don't talk about?
Oh wow. Which one?
No, but you're not sober. This decision has to be taken soberly.
Okay.
And which one? Excellent question.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. We won very early, actually. Okay. So
enough.
chicken of the week. Peter, someone to nominate. I'm going to nominate myself because I'm playing some chess, and I can feel the old instinct, that I feel a move is better, but that one is safer. Let's go for the safer one. I mean, this is always the same today. I mean, that was just I hated myself after playing he has a bishop h6 attacking my knight on f4. And I have the choice between knight d3, which is obviously the good move, going to c5. And I have the knight g2, which is protecting e3 and making sure there is never bishop e3. And at the end of the day, I calculate everything. I think knight d3 is a better move. But I just go knight g2, and this is just... this is a shame. What can I say? This is a chicken attitude. What about
I'm
you
glad
guys?
you're finally embracing your inner chicken, because this category has often been you mocking people for being chicken.
Yeah.
Why we should praise people for being like us.
Okay. Do you have any chickens?
I really thought I had one, but I'm definitely not daring.
I was hoping Rajabov would cancel the candidates last minute so I could nominate him, but he's arrived in Madrid. Ding Liren has also boarded his flight. Everyone will be there.
Richie, I saw a picture with... Did you see on Twitter? With
With
Ljubojevic.
Yeah, so
That was weird, to say the least, but okay, why not? I guess Ljubo is good company, so... yeah. So...
Former top 3 or 2 in the world? Probably 3, right? Or was it 2? I forgot.
I think it was very much Karpov Kasparov in his days, so... I would say number 3.
but before Neimann.
Before Guy? Well, maybe even.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, could be a quiz question.
I'm not.
I really
Anyway-
thought I thought I had a good chicken, but I can't fully remember it. It's embarrassing. So no, I don't know. One could also argue, of course, that Mavadiyarov really should play on, but in the last game. But I don't.
That's
no, it's
not
not. It's not
chicken.
chicken.
That's,
I agree. This is not chicken and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know. I would have liked to
Okay.
Anish, but I don't know exactly why. So it doesn't make much sense in that sense. So yeah, it's a bit
He's
weak.
a chicken by default, let's face it.
Yeah. Also, Wesley So was kind of impressing me there. He wasn't that chicken. He was just playing good chess, was my impression.
He ran
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
steam.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking. My boy Wesley couldn't really finish the job.
No.
Oh, we cannot have only one chicken nomination. That's not enough in a way.
We can all
Well, of
nominate
course, okay.
because he
Of
finally
course.
accepts that he's
Yeah,
a chicken.
and I want
He's drawing
this-
all his games. He beats the 2200.
I will nominate
Welcome
Bashar
officially.
Koyatli to
and
make
you know-
Laurent happy. And also, I'll say that when you run for FIDE,
Yeah.
you should be transparent about your motivations. You should not run sort of hidden and only come forward after the deadline. You should stand up before that and say that you have these ambitions.
Yeah.
That would be reasonable.
I mean, that was just...
I'm
yeah.
not sure I mean it, but now I said it at least. So.
Yeah.
I made you happy, right?
No, I'm a terrible chicken because now I want this podcast to be over basically, and go to sleep, prepare, and tomorrow I have a black game. I'm incredibly scared. I have to check my black report.
I had a long work day, but 12 hours, but now I have a campaign call, so I will also do that.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you.
I've also had a very tough day, so now I'll go shoot things on Twitch and hopefully survive 20 minutes in a row.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.
See you next week.
As always.
Great pleasure.
Gehen zu das Hummus.
FIDE Heine Nielsen.